Let's explore some strange grains. Hey guys, welcome back to At the Table. I have returned from maternity leave and we are back cooking in the kitchen. I'm so excited to be back and being with y'all again. So today we are gonna do something a little different. We're doing some strange grains. So my littlest one that I just had, she is an allergy baby and we are still trying to navigate all of her allergens, but that has just led me down a rabbit hole of strange grains, and I've just been trying all kinds of stuff. So because of that, I wanted to share that with you all and just talk a little bit about different kinds of grains. I have two here that I made ahead of time. This is just kind of what I've been doing in my personal world, is making a big batch of grains and just kind of eating on it throughout the week. So for one, it's a great way to meal prep and save you time in the long run, but for two, it helps you to start getting some of these whole grains into your diet more frequently. So all of the grains that I'm going to show you today, they have different vitamins and minerals that are really good for our body, but they also are loaded with fiber. So the first one here is quinoa. Now, a lot of you may have seen this in the grocery store and you might have pronounced it quinoa. It starts with a Q, but we actually pronounce it with a K, quinoa. And it's not, I did not find it in Carly C's today, but they do have it in like Walmart, Food Lion. Most of your general grocery stores do have this. So what happens with the quinoa is it will start, when you cook it, it'll kind of have a ring around it that shows you that it's done. I have cooked this on the show before. This is probably our more common grain of our strange grains that we are going to be trying today. This is loaded with fiber and it does have a lot of protein. It's actually got all 9 of our essential amino acids, so it's a complete protein. Our other types of complete proteins are things like meats, most of our meats, dairy products, things of that nature. So this is a really great addition to your diet if you could start to include more quinoa here and there. As far as its flavor, it's kind of got a nutty flavor. I actually enjoy it in substitution for rice, but it also, I've been eating it for breakfast, which sounds weird, but you just do that with a little bit of your milk of choice, and then I do cinnamon and like honey or maple syrup in there, and then throw like bananas, nuts, nut butters, any of that on top, and it's really, really good. So kind of a different switch to maybe your traditional breakfast. This one is a new one to me. I just tried this for the first time this week. This is called millet, and this is what it looks like if you were to buy it. This says it's from, it's a grain of Asia, so it is more of a mild flavor to me. The texture of it is very similar to like couscous. It's fluffy. It doesn't really have a lot of flavor, so it's one of those things that you can use it in a lot of different things. It's very versatile. And our first recipe we're going to be doing is actually a quinoa flake fig bar. I couldn't find quinoa this morning, and because I went to a specific grocery store. But you can make your own quinoa flakes at home. We are gonna experiment and do millet flakes. So we're switching it up because this is such a versatile recipe, a versatile grain that you can do in a lot of stuff. So this is kind of what it looks like when you cook it. Both quinoa and millet are like 20 minutes, so they don't take long at all to cook. They're very quick. So what we'll have to start with is actually turning our millet into a flake. So to do this at home, because we typically can't find this in our grocery stores around here, is you just grind up the quinoa or you grind up your millet. So I'm just gonna throw this into my little blender here. Best thing to use is probably a coffee grinder. I don't have one of those, so we're just gonna see what happens, y'all. We need a good bit. I'm gonna start with just this much and just see what it does. Great thing about this little blender is kind of move it around. So we just want to grind that up so that it's in smaller pieces to put into our fig bars. We're getting there, y'all. We're gonna go ahead and take a quick break. You can see this already starting to grind up, and we will be back in just a minute.
Welcome to Cork and Brew Roseboro, where you can enjoy your favorite coffee, fraps, smoothies, bakery items, sandwiches, and select beer and wines while reconnecting with friends and family. Sit down and enjoy the experience. Come on by and give us a try.
The average American household has 17 devices connected to the internet. With more and more devices able to get online, you may need to increase your internet speed. Call Star Communications today and let us help you select the package that's right for you.
Computer viruses, malware, and ransomware are out there. They're dangerous, and they can steal your identity and damage your equipment. Star Communications is now offering Protect IQ. This service adds an extra layer of protection to every device connected to your network, working quietly in the background. Star can help you protect yourself from the inside out with Protect IQ. Call Star today and take advantage of this free service when you sign up for whole home Wi-Fi with Star Communications.
All right, guys, welcome back. So we have our millet all ground up, so you can kind of see it's really fine. A lot more fine than it was in the other package. That should do. I went ahead and crumbled up our figs. So I just got some dried figs here, and we had a cup of that. We threw that in there and got them nice and crumbled. And next we have a couple things that we are gonna be adding. So here you could kind of do whatever is your preference. I'm gonna be using a sunflower butter because, again, got some allergies that we are working through with my littlest one. So I want this to be something that I can eat as well. So we need about half a cup of any type of nut butter that you like. Peanut butter, almond butter, sunflower butter. Your choice. And we're going to be adding some syrup and honey to this as well. So it'll help make it nice and sweet, but it's a little sticky. Now, like I said, you could make this with, we're doing that millet, you could do this with the quinoa. You can buy quinoa flakes at the grocery store. Sorry, not at the grocery store, online typically, or at more of a health food store. But we don't really have a lot of that around here. I've not checked Walmart, however. They might have it at Walmart, but they didn't have it at Food Line. Did check there. So we have our sunflower butter. We're gonna add just 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. I'm not gonna measure as closely, but we'll just pour it in our spoon here. Measure with your heart a little bit on the sweet stuff. And then we also have 2 tablespoons of that honey. I would think that either one of these would be fine. You don't have to necessarily do both. If you have one and not the other, I think that would be okay. All right. And what we're looking for is for this to eventually kind of turn into a dough. So we're going to blend this together, and then actually I think we'll do this first, and then I will add in my ground millet. And let's just do it manually. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and add in our millet, and we're looking for kind of this dough to form. And we can add a little bit of water too to help with that consistency. Just doing about a tablespoon or so at a time. And I didn't put in all of that. I think I'm gonna add it in batches. All right, we'll add some more. This looks a little crazy, doesn't it? We're doing strange stuff in here today. All right, I'm gonna add some more water. I'm gonna do a little bit extra here just because I think it needs it. This is better in, now this blender is supposed to also be a food processor, but I think it would be even better in an actual food processor. This is just all that we have here. So if you're like me, you know, you work with what you got at home. Okay, let's do this one. Let's check it out. I don't want to spend too much time blending stuff up. So I think that looks pretty doughy to me. And this is the tricky part here. Ours just might be a little bit thicker. Now, if you're doing this at home, you're not doing it for a TV show, and you want to spend more time blending, I think that would be great. But I'm just kind of gonna mix all of this together and stir it. And it's, to me, blended well enough that I think we can go ahead and we're gonna put it into our pan. All of this is gonna go into the oven when you're done anyways. So ideally you would use parchment paper here. I'm gonna use a little bit of oil because we didn't have any of that here at the office. I thought we did. You can't use wax paper because wax paper will start to melt in the oven. I don't see why this wouldn't work. It might stick a little bit to our pan here, but it'll be fine. So we're just gonna push this down. So that's kind of what it looks like. I've still got some fig chunks. I think, to me, that will be tasty, it will be good. But we're gonna push this down with our hand. So pretty much, you know, working it down into the entire bottom of the pan. So we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break, and I will see you guys back in just 1 minute.
Great communities attract talented people to live, work, and raise their families. We're committed to delivering future-proof broadband so our friends, families, and neighbors can live rich lives in smart rural communities across America. Your community is our community. We're your rural broadband partners. You do great things. We make great things possible.
Providing fewer commutes, more backyard offices, and crystal clear meetings. Providing less, you froze up. And more presence in your presentations. Providing a better internet experience. Providing possible.
Hey guys, welcome back. So we have our fig bars in the oven. Those will cook for about 25 minutes. We are going to work now on a buckwheat sweet potato chili. So this is buckwheat. It looks, let's see if I can get some out here to show you. It looks a little bit thicker. It's more chunky. It kind of looks like a little heart shape, honestly. But this one it takes a little bit longer to cook. Still not super long. I think the package itself says cooks for 10 to 15 minutes and then it's done. So all of these grains are pretty quick in terms of their cook time. But buckwheat is really good for a chili recipe. It does have kind of a meatier flavor, a meatier texture, so it's really, really great in a lot of our chilies. We're getting into that chili season, so I thought this would be a yummy one to try. So what we're starting with is I have some sweet potato here, and we're just gonna cut these into chunks. I did remove the peeling just with, a little peeler. It's a lot easier to do than trying to do it with a knife. And we're just gonna cut these into our chunks. And put all of this, we're gonna saute it in our pan together. Now, buckwheat, I believe this one is from Eastern Europe is what this one says. So it's traditional in Eastern Europe. So these are all different grains that are from different parts of the world. They might seem kind of strange to us. We don't eat them quite as often, but they're very common in some of these other regions. And they, like I said, are loaded with nutrients. So many of them have a good amount of fiber in them, which of course we don't really get enough fiber in our day-to-day diet. When we're comparing that to something like rice, or that's probably our more common grain that we have here, but pasta's the other thing that we tend to eat a good bit of in terms of our starchy carbs that we prefer. This is gonna have a lot better of a nutritional profile, a lot more fiber than those options. Of course, eat what you enjoy, not saying that you have to choose one thing over the other. We like to have a nice balanced diet, but sometimes it's fun just to mix it up. I get kind of bored eating the same thing all the time. So throw that in there. Sweet potatoes are, of course, great all year round here in southeastern North Carolina. We've got an abundance of sweet potatoes and they're very affordable. So great one to be adding to your soups, your chilies, things like that. Next, I'm cutting up my pepper. So I always just take the top and the bottom off and then slowly chop around. I know I just did that quickly without even really showing you guys. I did also just add in an onion. I don't know if I said that earlier, but I love to just go ahead and chop a bunch of onions, same with the peppers if I have a good amount, and throw it into the freezer. And then I don't have to worry about cutting them up again and crying and snotting everywhere. It's not fun, right? So we just had 1 cup of onion, and then we're just gonna do, it says a cup of bell pepper. I'm gonna add the whole bell pepper. Again, this would be an opportunity where you could freeze some if you didn't want to use that entire cup. But it smells delicious. So another benefit that we get from a lot of these grains that we're talking about today, some of them are really good in our omega fatty acids. So we didn't talk about hemp hearts. We'll talk about those, I think, next time. But those have a lot of our omegas in them, which is good for our brain health, good for our heart health as well. And it's just something that you can add to a lot of different recipes. Like I said, we'll talk about that one a little bit more in depth next time. Buckwheat is one you do have to cook. The millet, you could actually eat that raw. You don't have to cook it. You can kind of sprinkle it on top of stuff if you would like. Personally, I think it's better cooked. The other thing I've seen with that is there's something called puffed millet. So kind of like you make popcorn in a big pan like this. You can take that millet, put it in your pan. You can use oil or not, up to you, and it will puff up. Now it's not as big as popcorn. It's not like a huge, giant kernel that you get, but it still is kind of puffed up and is a good little snack. I've seen a couple cereal recipes as well that use puffed millet. So you can buy millet pre-puffed, or you can make your own just with a bag of millet. All right, so this is gonna have to simmer and kind of cook down. We want it to get nice and sauteed, of course, and then we're gonna start adding the rest of our ingredients. So we'll go ahead and take a quick break and let this kind of simmer, and then we'll see you guys back in just a second.
At Fisher's, it's not just about fashion. It's about exceptional service. Experience top-notch customer care and find your perfect look. Visit Fisher's today and feel the difference.
Eastern North Carolina is a beautiful place where we gladly choose to call home, and we strive to provide the best communications services. STAR is committed to improving communications to all our service areas because we want to improve the communities where we not only work, but also live. STAR Communications. We are neighbors serving neighbors.
Hey guys, welcome back. So our veggies over here they even have a little bit of char on them, which I like, I prefer. I did turn my pan down a little bit. They smell delicious. We're gonna add in some garlic here. It called for 5 cloves of garlic. I had really big cloves, so I just did 3 really large cloves and just kind of chop that up. I'm gonna add a little bit of water to our pan. Still getting readjusted to our stovetop over here. It's not even on medium heat and it is hot. So that's good. Next we're gonna add in our spices. So we have some chili powder, pretty common with our chili. We're gonna do a whole tablespoon of that. If you have a chipotle chili powder, you can also add that in. We're gonna do some cumin, also another traditional one. Typically, whenever we make chili, those are our 2 go-to seasonings. And we're doing another tablespoon of that. And this does smell absolutely delicious. And we're gonna add some onion powder here. And we're just I'm gonna do a teaspoon of that. And some oregano, and that's a teaspoon. And paprika is my last one, so 2 teaspoons of this. If you have the smoked, that's preferred. We do not have that here, so just using regular paprika. So lots of good spices in there, of course, that helps to flavor our chili up. All right, next we have about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Any recipe I've ever seen does not, well, it rarely, shouldn't say every recipe, but rarely do we use the whole can. A little trick for you, go ahead, scrape this out, put it in a freezer bag and freeze it. And that way, anytime you need just like a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons, you can just take it out of, I would leave it out on the counter for maybe 30 minutes or so, and it'll be soft enough that you can kind of break off what you need. That's what I do at home. So mix all of that up. Next, we're gonna add in some diced tomatoes. And I did that with its juice. I'm gonna leave the beans out just because that's one of the foods that I'm trying to watch out for legumes because of my daughter's allergies, but we're gonna put those on the side. People can throw that in their chili if they'd like. And the same with corn. If you wanted to add corn here, you absolutely could. And then we have about half a cup of our buckwheat. So we're gonna just pour that on in. This is definitely a bigger pot than we probably needed. All right, and then the last thing is 2 cups. You can do water, you can do vegetable broth here, chicken broth, whatever you choose. I just decided to do water, and we're gonna mix it all together. And now this is gonna have to simmer for about 20 to 30 minutes. So remember when we read our buckwheat on the back of it, it says 10 to 15 minutes is how long you would cook that. So we're going a little bit longer than that, but that's perfectly okay. And that will cook right up and start to thicken. And like I said, it has a good meaty texture. So hopefully you guys will like that as much as I do. Our fig bars are also finished. You can see those over there. They have a nice little crust happening on the outside. You want it to kind of turn brown once it's all done, and we'll cut those into bars and kind of show you guys the finished product of that. So just a little bit of different grains that we went over today. We have some more that we're going to talk about next time, but I hope that you'll get adventurous as well as I have to try some different stuff. There's lots of different things out there. You can make lots of different substitutions. I get really bored with either having rice or pasta on the side as kind of my side dish with my meals. So these can kind of give a little bit of variety, a little bit of a different texture for you, and just switch up your traditional stuff that you're doing at home. So I hope that you try these. I hope that you enjoy them, and we will see you guys next time on At the Table.